Is the Sony A1 worth it in 2023 when we have fantastic cameras like the Sony A7 IV and the A7R V? That's what I'm going to try and answer in this video. I'm going to share a little bit of the differences between these cameras, but mostly I'm going to share from my experiences having shot with the A1 since it first came out. Now, the A1 is a great camera. There's a reason why Sony doesn't have to refresh this camera all the time like it does its other cameras. There are things that are special about this camera, but as other cameras start to get additional features, is it worth the premium price? Let's talk about that. So first of all, let's just look at the camera. The camera body has a few distinguishing features to it. For example, it has the toggles over here for your different focus modes and your different continuous shooting functions here, which is nice. It's nice to have a tactical way to make those changes and not have to go into the menu. However, if you're used to going into the menu to make those changes, you can't do that in this camera. You have to use these switches, which is fine. It just takes getting used to something a little different. Now, on this camera, it has the old way of getting into video mode. It's rotating the mode dial altogether without having the secondary switch down below that we started to see with the A7 IV. We can change the mode dial or leave it in manual and go photo, video, and S&Q mode with the lower dial down below, which I like. The A1 doesn't have that. The A1 has an additional custom function button up top where the record button now shows up on most cameras. It has its record button down here in the old style location like Sony cameras used to have. So other than that, there isn't really much different as far as the body goes. Of course, this camera does have an Ethernet port for tethered shooting or connecting to networks, and it also has a wired flash port if you shoot studio or need to connect wired to strobes. It does have a full HDMI port. It was one of the first Sony cameras to come with a full-size HDMI port, or Sony cameras of this form factor. This camera is great. It shoots 50 megapixel images, 4K up to 120, and it also shoots in 8K for those of you that need 8K for some reason. So for me, this camera has been absolutely fantastic. But over the last few years, I've been shooting with the A7 IV, and I also have had experience this year for a few months shooting with the A7R V as well. And those cameras are no slouch when it comes to performance. So what makes the A1 stand out? Well, the A1's internals are what makes it stand out. The A1 is able to acquire focus faster than pretty much any other camera that I've ever shot with. Acquiring focus is insanely quick on the A1, and if you're shooting sports or wildlife or even weddings, anything where you want that autofocus to just happen instantaneous, this camera is that camera. And you also get the 50 megapixel images while having really good low light performance. You don't get that in the other cameras. You get insane low light performance in the A7S III camera, but you sacrifice resolution substantially. You get amazing resolution on the A7R V, but you sacrifice low light performance. So there's trade-offs with all of those. With the A1, they are able to give you a 50 megapixel image while still having amazing low light performance. On the A1, I get better low light performance than I get on the A7 IV, which is saying something because the A7 IV is a fantastic camera, but it shoots a much lower resolution image. If you want high resolution images, you want low light performance and fast autofocus, the A1 is going to be that camera for you. Now, the A1 also has, I believe it just has a bigger buffer. I haven't looked into this, but in my experiences, when I'm shooting high-speed continuous, I can rattle off images until I run out of space with this camera and it keeps up. Whereas with the A7 IV and the A7R V, they're a bit slower and they tend to choke down and then they start to shoot slower, and that happens much faster on those cameras, even when using high-speed SD cards like V90 SD cards, which I'll link to the SD cards that I use down below. Of course, we have those CF Express Type A cards that are super expensive and fast, and I have a few of them. I never shoot with them. I always shoot with these V90 cards, and these V90 cards are absolutely fantastic. So I'll link to those down below. Whether I'm shooting 4K 120, I could even shoot 8K, or if I'm just shooting continuous full speed with the A1, those cards keep up, and so I never have to go and spend that extra money on those CF Express cards. In those scenarios, I find myself leaning towards the A1 because it has that extra performance, and because I have the camera available to me and I'm used to it, I want it. But if I didn't have this camera, if I was shooting with the A7 IV and I'm thinking to myself, I would sure like to go with a higher end camera, I don't know if I could justify the increase in price because the price point on the A1 is pretty high. And even though this camera provides value, and I believe it's still one of the best cameras out available on the market, when it comes to price, it's definitely not one of the best cameras available on the market because you can get an A7 IV and you could probably get an A7R5 and maybe still be around the price of this, maybe a little bit over it, but you can get both of those cameras and have two camera bodies for the price of an A1. In my years of shooting, I've shifted more, and I used to carry two bodies and have them kitted with lenses and all this stuff, and they were ready to go. Now I pretty much just shoot with one camera and have a backup camera body in case something goes wrong. The A1 does everything. It shoots 50 megapixel images, which is great. It shoots 4K up to 120, so it does everything that I need while having superior autofocus, while having great low light performance, and I normally would need two cameras for that. I would need maybe this camera or the A7R5, and I'd probably need the A7S III as well to get what I want to get and achieve what I want to achieve. And so the A1 does that, but it's in one camera body and it's getting a bit older. And I don't know if I could justify spending that kind of money because we don't know when the A1 is going to be refreshed. Now, there used to be the A9, and the A9 was kind of the premium, and it was the step up from the A7 line. And we haven't seen much with that line in a while. And now the A1 has been here for a little while as well. Are we going to get an A1 Mark II? Who knows? We'll see what happens. If an A1 Mark II does come out, I guarantee it's going to be a killer camera, but we don't know when that's going to happen. So here in 2023, I'm thinking to myself, you know, if I didn't have the A1, I would probably see what I could get accomplished with the other cameras because the other cameras are still extremely capable and there's a lower price point. I'll give you the same advice that I give everybody. If you're considering spending a good amount of money on a camera and you don't have good lenses, you don't have like these G Master lenses, get these G Master lenses before you go and invest in an extremely expensive camera body. If you put cheaper lenses on the A1, you're not going to see any improvements in autofocus because you're choked down by the glass that you've attached to the camera. The only reason that this A1 performs better than my other cameras is because it has superior glass on it, and all of this is meant to work together on this camera, just like it's meant to work on the A7 IV. But the A7 IV, of course, is limited by slower technology, and you just don't get that in the A1. So let's wrap all this up. I definitely wouldn't be purchasing the A1 in 2023 unless I had some big photography assignments coming up and I needed that kind of performance. If I wanted the most possible in a camera and I just wanted that one camera body, it needed to do it all and it needed to do it the best possible way, then the A1 would be that camera because it still outperforms even the newer Sony cameras, even though it's a bit older and it doesn't have the new AI technology that the A7R5 has. It still is faster and it still stays locked on and does its job really well. So if I had a photo assignment where I needed that, I would definitely go with the A1, and I would hope that that job paid well enough to support me purchasing the A1. But if not, the A7 IV is more than enough camera, and if you need more resolution, the A7R5 is more than enough camera for most people and what they're wanting to accomplish. You just need that little micro millisecond of more patience with those other cameras because they don't autofocus quite as fast and they don't write to the SD cards quite as fast, but they do everything else and they do it well. So don't break the bank on getting an A1 unless you absolutely need those things. I only go to the A1 because I have it and I purchased it because I needed the best of the best at the time. And once you have it, you definitely want to shoot with it. But knowing that this camera is getting a little old and perhaps there's a second version coming, whether it's an A1 Mark II or something else, I definitely would want to wait and see what happens and not purchase this camera only to find out that maybe 6 months down the road, there's the next version. Because This A1 was revolutionary when it came out. It's ahead of its time, and the fact that it still is a top-of-the-line camera, as old as it is now, means that the next version of it, or the next version of whatever Sony produces, is going to be that much better, and it's going to get you that much further into the future. So I would consider waiting and seeing what happens. But regardless, I've got links for you down in the description below. Using those links helps support the channel, takes you straight to Amazon or B&H Photo so you can see the prices on these cameras, including some of the accessories that I use. You might be wondering what this contraption is on the bottom of my A1. First of all, it's a mounting plate for my tripod, and second of all, this is the attachment for the cotton carrier that I use, which is a chest-mounted setup so that I can mount my camera right here and carry it with me and easily access my camera. It's one of the best camera straps ever made. I absolutely love it. That's linked down in the description below as well. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, or you have something specific that you want to ask, the comment section is the best place for that. I do my best to keep up with the comments and answer any questions that you might have that are specific to this camera or comparing it to one of the others. Definitely do that down below. So if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when I put out new videos. We'll see you in the next one.